So welcome all to that OIC training. So today it's our like first session, or we can call that demo session. So we'll just see that introduction that okay what OIC is, so that okay everyone has that fair understanding. And then towards the end, I will give you the time so that okay we can go and discuss if anyone has any questions or anything, right? So we can go and look into those questions so that okay I will able to clarify your questions. So that is going to be the agenda for today. So first of all, right, what is OIC? So if I will just wanted to, if anyone knows what is OIC, right? If anyone wants to answer that question, please go ahead. So that okay, I know that okay, what is your understanding about OIC? So anyone wants to answer what is OIC or Oracle Integration Cloud? Okay, no issues. Maybe like you guys are completely new to the OIC, so that's for that purpose only that this training is all about. So we are going to start from very basics, so that you can call as level 0 to advanced level. That okay, after the training, right? If you will get that opportunity to work on real project, right, as in the job, right? So you will able to work directly in the projects also. So we will go and start from very basics level 0 to that thing that okay we'll able to do some real time projects. We'll say that okay, and whole training is going to be the hands on, so you will able to get the real feel of that what OIC and how the development will be happening in the OIC. So if I will really quick go to the definition, right, what we have from the official definition from the Oracle, that Oracle Integration Cloud Service is a complete, secure, but lightweight integration solution that enables you to connect your application in the cloud. It simplifies connectivity between your application and can connect both your applications that live in the cloud and your application that are still on the on-premise. So this is that official definition, right? But if you see it, maybe like you will not able to get much from this one. So if I will just try to explain this in the simple, right, what OIC is. So nowadays, right, no two systems, right, or any systems, right, can go and do the job alone. They have to go and interact at some point of time with the other system. So OIC is there for the data communication between multiple systems. So if you see simple, right, it is data communication. So now like how I have connected with you guys, right, over Zoom through meeting, right? Same way, right? When two systems want to communicate, right? How they will be connecting? So they will be connecting with the help of OIC. So OIC comes as a middleware between two systems, so that okay, those two systems, right, can go and communicate with each other. If I will take that example, right? So what happened? Right? We are getting the salary, right? Who are working, right? So what happened? Right? We will get the salary from the our employer. So for example, I am working for company ABC. So company ABC will pay me some my salary on last day of my month. So how that will, right? So is the company will credit that amount into my bank account? No, right? It is the bank who will credit that amount. But how the bank will know that okay, what is my salary? Right? So what happened? Our company will send some information, some data, right, to the bank. Then what happened? Bank will go and credit that amount into my bank account. And once that amount got credited, right, what happened? Bank again will go and do the notify to the our employer that okay, the amount got credited. Then what happened? Our payslip will be generated in our employees portal, right? So that is how the salary will happen. But for example, in that salary process, right, there will be some deductions also. So some insurance deduction will be there, some PF reduction will be there, then some income tax deduction will be there. So those information that we need to share with those corresponding systems. So again what happened, we will say that okay, this is the amount which we need to go and like this is the salary of the employer, this employee. Then what happened? That amount will be distributed. For example, 10,000 is my salary. So 10% should go to the income tax department, 10% should go to the insurance department, 10% should go to the PF department. Rest 70% rate should come to my account. So what happened in this one, if you see, there are multiple systems who the communication will happen from employer to the bank. Then bank will go and do the communication with the PF department, insurance department, and income tax department, right? So when this kind of a communication will happen, right, how it can happen? So that can happen through OIC. OIC is kind of a middleware with the help of that one that multiple systems can go and communicate with each other. If you take that example, one more example, right? So we are using the phone pay or paytm or like any upi applications. So what happened is our account with them? No, right? We are not using like my account is not with the phone pay. Phone pay is not a bank, right? Or paytm is not the bank, right? So what happened? Our accounts are not there with them. But what how we are able to see the information there? So what happened? Bank has communicating, right? Bank and our UPI apps, right, are communicating with each other. So when I will go into my UPI application, right, and I will say show my balance. So what happened? The request, right? The communication will happen between our UPI application and between the bank. We'll not able to see that one. That everything will happen behind the scene. But that data communication which will happen, right? So that can be happen through OIC. So OIC plays a key role in the data communication between two systems. Now nowadays now what happened, right? When these all these communications happen, right, the whether my information will come or not, that is always my second priority. First priority is like my data should be secure at all the time. So what happened, OIC gives that flexibility that okay, our data will be secure all the time, right? So as a OIC developer, right, we no need to worry about that, okay, whether our data will be secure or not. So now, like before OIC, right, how these communications happen? Because it's not that okay, after OIC only, right, this salary will be credited. Previously also, right, employees used to get the salary. But what is the change with that OIC? So previously, right, all those processes used to happen manually. Now what happened, with the help of OIC, right, we can go and automate that whole process. Right? So for example, if we have to pay their salary, right, whatever company can go and prepare some Excel sheet, they can go and prepare some data, right, and then that information they can go and share with the bank. So in that one, right, the human dependency is there. Someone needs to prepare that file, then they will go and share that file. So always, right, whatever, right, multiple tasks are involved and it is like human dependency. But now with the help of voice, right, we can go and automate that one. So we don't need anyone, right? We know that okay, on last working day, right, the salary should be credited. So what happened? We can go and define some logic that okay, this logic needs to be run automatically on the last working day of the month. Or we can say that okay, if the process takes 2-3 days, right, we can define on particular date. We can say on 25th of every month, right, this process should go and start. So it will automatically pick that information from our system and it will go and share that information with the bank or with any third parties, whichever parties we want to share. Correct? So in this one, right, what happened, right, there is no human dependency. Because if it is a human dependency, there is a possibility that okay, delay can happen, something can goes wrong. So what happened, the salaries can get delayed. But when system will do the things automatically, right, so what happened, it will be running 24 into 7, right? So the things will happen automatically. So that is kind of a scenarios, right, we can go and use with the help of YG. Earlier, then what happened, earlier it was manual. Then like with the help of some programming language, right, we could have written the Java code or Python code. We have created some microservices, right? So with the help of those, right, we have used this logic. So we have tried to automate something more on top of that one. But in that case, what happened, right, we are going to write our custom code. Correct? So when we are writing the code, what happened, right? If suppose I am the person who is having 15 years of experience, right, I will write code based on my 15 years of knowledge. Suppose someone, right, who is just starting the career, if suppose that person is writing, right, what happened, right, he will be writing some code. So what happened, the code or the implementation, right, is depend upon the developer's capability. If suppose some person who is having 25 years of experience in OIC, right, so what happened, they will be writing better code compared to me, right? So what happened, right, when it comes to that microservice, it is developer's dependency, that okay, who is the developer. If the developer knows all the things, right, then what happened, right, he will able to write the better code. If he's a completely new person, right, or if he know it doesn't know that all the concept, right, then what happened, based on his knowledge, right, he will be writing. So what Oracle has done, right, Oracle came up with this OIC. So OIC is a low code framework. It means we don't need to write the logic or code from the scratch. The components, pre-built components are there. We just have to drag and drop and we just have to design the solution. That okay, how the like what all the things needs to be there into the solution. That's all, right? And that security and whatever the dependency thing, right, those things will be kind of a inherited, it will be there automatically. So as a developer, no need to worry. So now in the OIC, right, whether I will be writing the code or whether the person who is completely new, right, they are writing the code, so it is kind of a same level of code will be written. Why? Because it is a drag and drop functionality. So when the drag and drop functionality will be there, whatever behind the scenes, same code will be generated. So there is no developer dependency that okay, who is writing this code. Now, as a developer, right, we just need to worry about the business logic. What logic needs to be there. No need to worry about that implementation. No need to worry about that. Okay, what is the syntax, right? What code we need to write? How we can make that this integration as a secure, right? So all those things will be taken care automatically. So OIC is a low code framework where we can go and design the solution by doing the drag and drop functionalities. Now, if you see again, if I will go to the definition, right? So OIC is a complete, secure but lightweight integration solutions that enables you to connect your application in the cloud. It means it is a solution, lightweight solution, right? So what that mean, right? That means that okay, all the things right will be kind of in place. No need to worry about that. Okay, how we will do. And the main purpose of this, right? It will be data communication. Now, if you see through diagram, right? So what happened, right? Now, if you see it is mentioned in the cloud. So what happened with that non-Oracle cloud application? So it simplifies connectivity between your application that available on the cloud and that is available on the on-premise. It means if your application or if your data right is not there on the internet, right? So that also can be communicated with the help of OIC. Now, if you say these are the Oracle multiple systems like Iloca, Oracle Fusion right now, right? So these are the Oracle multiple systems. Now, when they want to communicate with each other, right? OIC can be a solution. But is only Oracle systems can go and communicate with each other? No. So when they want to connect with that external, right, or third-party clouds like Salesforce, Workday, right? So with that also, right, with the help of OIC, we can go and communicate. If you have to connect with some systems which are on-premise, right, which are not there on the cloud as of now. If you want to communicate with those, right, so can OIC be the solution? Yes, OIC can be the solution in that case also. Now, can non-Oracle products, right? For example, Workday and Salesforce, both are non-Oracle products. Can they can go and communicate with the help of OIC? Yes. So OIC is a middleware solution which is independent upon the system. There is no dependency that okay, what is the source, what is the target, which two systems involved. It can be any two systems. So due to these reasons, right, Oracle or OIC is great in demand. Now, is OIC only the player in the market? No, there are other players also who is doing this kind of a thing, but those are not that you can say capable what OIC is capable of doing, right? So what happened? Other competitors are like Dell Boomi is there, MuleSoft is there, but they right you have to go and write the codes. Again, there will be some more complexity, some limitations will be there. But Oracle has developed this OIC in such a way that okay, it is fully automated. There's no limitations, and every 3 months, right, it used to auto upgrade. So Oracle comes up with the new releases, new patches. Why? Because OIC is a PaaS solution, platform as a service. It means no need to download any software into our local. Now, for example, if I will say that, okay, you have to write one code, what you will do, right? If suppose we are writing some code, right? Maybe we need to download some code editor. Then we may need to download some libraries, right? To make our application working. But in the case of voice, right, we don't need all those things. We just need internet and we just need browser and OIC instance. Then we can go and log in from any system anywhere. So what happened? From the day one, right, all our codes will be on the server itself. Earlier, what used to happen, right? For example, some implementation came. What happened? Right? We can give the timeline that okay, it needs 10 days. So we can say that okay, 7 days will be needed in the development and 3 days will be needed into the deployment. Right? We need to deploy the code to the server. But with the help of OIC, right, what happened? The deployment days, right, are saved automatically because we are writing or we are designing our whole logic on the server itself from the day one. So those 3 days, right, are gone. So whatever from 10, it came to the 7. Next, we are not writing the code from scratch, right? We have the things available. So we'll be just using drag and drop. So what happened? Those 7 days also, right, can be reduced to 4 days or 3 days, depend upon the complexity. So whole year that initially it used to take 10 days, right? So that duration can come to the around 50%. So that is the another reason why companies are going for that OIC. Because in today's time, right, no one wants to wait for the development. They want the solution as soon as possible. So when one person, right, can deliver the solution in 10 days, right, on the for the same solution, right, you can go and achieve in 4 days or 5 days, right? What happen, right? Companies will obviously go for that OIC. So that is another reason, right, why OIC is great in demand at this point of time. Now, when we earlier those deployment issues, right, we used to get, now the deployment itself is not there, right? So those deployment issues are also gone. So that common issue, right, maybe you have heard, right, that okay, it was working into my local, but like when we deployed the code to the server, right, it is not working. Why? Because the libraries we have into our system, right, those are different, and we have developed the code by using those libraries. The libraries which are available on the server, right, those are different. So what happened, right? When we deploy the our working code to this one, right, so the dependent libraries are different, so the code might not work. So now what happened, we used to fix, or we need to spend a lot of time. So at the end, right, we have to spend around same time of time, like whatever the time we have spent in the development, same or more time we have to spend on the deployment. So that time, right, is gone, or those unnecessary issues which we used to face earlier, right, those are also gone. So the development, right, or the implementation process, right, becomes very easy compared to the previously. So that is what OIC is all about. So I hope you got that initial idea, right? So what happened, right? If I will just summarize that everything, right? So what happened? OIC is a middleware which will help multiple systems can go and communicate with each other. And in that one, right, we don't need to write the code from the scratch. It is a low code framework. So we can just drag and drop the components and we can design the solution. No need to worry about the security. The security will be inherited automatically, which is done by the product development team. So whether I am writing a simple hello world application or whether I am writing a complex some integration, right, supply integration or something. So I will get the same level of security for both. And that is automatically delivered by the product development team. So that is what OIC is all about and OIC's capabilities. Now at this point of time, right, all the companies are going to the cloud. So they are moving from legacy applications to the cloud. So when they are moving to the legacy to the cloud, right, they need to move all their legacy data to the cloud. So what happened, right? At this point of time, right, the OIC developers are great in demand. Why? Because the demand is more and the supply is less. So in the market, right, people are there who know just the basics or who don't have the real hands-on experience. So companies lacks the real person who knows that implementation, who has that hands-on experience, right? So in this training, we are going to do all the things practical. Initially, 3-4 sessions are going to be the theoretical. In that one, right, we will be giving you the walkthrough that okay, what are the instance, right? How that instance will be there. After that one, right, the whole thing, right, is going to be the hands-on only. So that is what like OIC capabilities. And if you're looking for a career switch, right, and again, right, as I told, right, OIC is a low code framework, so there's no prerequisite kind of a thing. So if you're a functional person, right, if you're a technical or if you're a non-technical person also, right, so you can also go and start your career into the OIC. Because here we are not writing any code from the scratch, we just have the business, we should just have the analytic skill, or we just should have the business understanding that okay, how we can go and implement the logic. If you have that basic understanding, you can go and design the solution if you are a non-technical also. But if suppose you go with that earlier solution, right, the microservices or other, right, if you are a technical person, right, then only you will be able to write or deliver the solution, otherwise it was not possible. So that is what OIC is all about. So introduction to OIC. So as I this, right, we already have covered that okay, what we can go and deliver with the help of this one. That OIC is a complete solution for connecting multiple business system, right? Now it is doesn't mean that okay, only two systems. It can be any number of systems can communicate in a single conversation. So same thing if you say now I am taking the class. So whatever, am I taking only one-to-one class? No, right? There are n number of people are available in the meeting. So I am delivering the session and at the same time multiple people are able to learn. So same way, right? OIC will also. So data can be extracted from one point and it can be delivered to the multiple points. It is possible one to one also and one to many also it is possible. It simplifies data movement between any systems which may on the cloud or on premise. Now supports integration, process automation and application. It empowers organization to build connected digital ecosystem with less manual effort. So as I told, right, the development will be become faster here. So what happened? Same solution we can go and get earlier compared to the other implementations if you're going. And now what happened? We will get that high accuracy and speed. Why? Because when it is human doing it, there is a possibility of the human error. But when the system is doing it, there is no possibilities of that. Okay, anything can go wrong. If we have written our design logic correct, so what happened? Always it will be correct only. But if it is a human, it is doing it. There is a possibility that okay, it has some inaccuracy. It has some issues in that one. But with the system, right, it will be not like that one. Then why we need that OIC? So manual integration at heavily depend upon the human intervention, which can lead the delays and inefficiencies. Then data, right? When we talk about the data, inconsistency will be there. For example, right, if you have to share huge amount of data. So what happened? For human, right, it is difficult to manage that one, right? So what happened? There is a possibility that okay, you extracted some wrong data, wrong file, and you shared with the client, right? So what happened? Everything can go and wrong. But with the help of OIC, right, when we have automated the whole solution, there is no possibility of like that one that okay, it can go and extract the wrong data. Whatever logic we have written, so it will go and extract all that only. Why? Because it is the system is handling. If I will suppose if I have to go and share 20 files or 30 files with the client and I will extract it, there's a possibility that I can go and mess up one or two files. But system will not do that one. Then scaling right will become the difficult. So suppose if today right we have just 100 employees, so we are processing the salary of 100 employees. So what happen? Only one or two people can handle that salary. But for example, right, if suddenly right we hired so many people that okay that 1,000 count become 10,000. So what happened? We need bigger team because now 2% cannot handle that salary. But if the solution is there in the voice, right? So whether it is like 1,000% salary or it is 10,000% salary, right? There is no dependency or there's no operation changes. Same team can go and continue because the main logic, right, or the heavy lifting, right, now shifted to the OIC. But if it was a manual, right, so we need to go and hire team. We need to go and need more resources who can go and do that one, right? For troubleshooting, right, and maintenance, we require continuous IT involvement. But here, in the case of OIC, right, that is not there because OIC has its inbuilt monitoring and all. So if something goes wrong, right, it will go. You can go to the monitoring screen and we can go and see that okay, what goes wrong, right? So all these things are the things why OIC is like great in demand and why from manual integration, right, we are going with the OIC. So again, right, how OIC will fail? OIC helps. So same thing, right? We can replace those repetitive manual tasks with that automations. It ensures that okay, data transfer is transferred right accurately between the applications real time. Now the main thing is real time, right? So whatever if it is a manual thing and all right, it is very difficult to maintain that okay, all the multiple system right are having the same data at the same time, right? But with the help of IC, right, we can go and achieve that one. So as soon as some record would have been created in one system, right, if we need to share that information to the other system, right, we can go and do. We can create event-based integrations and all. So in that, right, it will depend upon that process. So that is what like OIC helps. Then these are some use cases like we can automate the financial reportings. We can connect the multiple teams so that they can go and get some insights. We can streamline that order management and inventory management departments. We can integrate the HR system, right? So that okay, they can go and do the faster onboarding and employee data updates in the system. So we can go and make the internal and external application synchronizations. So when we need to go and share some data external to the application, right? So we should be know that okay, our data should be secure outside the system because within when the data is there in our system, right, we can ensure that okay, it is always secure. But as soon as the data will extracted from the our system, right, and it will go outside, right, that time is right, our data should be secure. So that can be controlled through this one, right? So that is what the use cases we have. Now, if you go to the integration components, right? So if you see, right, when we go and design any solution, so these are the main components, right? Or all the solutions, right, will have these building blocks. So what happened? We can go and use this as a service one. So what is service, right? Maybe this we can consider as a source, and these two systems we can consider as the target. So in the case of salary example, right, we can consider this one, right? Let me go and call. So this system, right, we can go and call as our company or employer. Then this we can go and call as a bank, and this we can go and call as that income tax department. So what happens? The information needs to share between. So it can be one to one, it can be one to many. So when the communication needs to happen like this, right? How it will go and happen, right? So what happened? First of all, we need to go and create the connections, right? I think I need to change some different color. I can go with, let's see. Yeah. So what happened? First of all, we need to go and define the connections, right? So with each corresponding system, right, we'll go and define the connections. Each connection, right, will internally will be using the adapter, right? So adapters and connections are nothing. For example, this is our Fusion application. So with the help of Fusion adapter, we'll go and give the connection. So in the connection, right, we'll go and give our details. Then this is, for example, Workday. So I will be using the Workday adapter, and we can go and define that, okay, what are the credentials. Then this is, for example, Salesforce. So we'll be giving the Salesforce adapter, and we'll go and give the connection details. So that is how, right, we can go and define. Then with the help of integrations, right, we'll go and define our main logic. So in the integration, right, we'll be writing our complete logic. So any integration we will do, these are the building blocks which are going to be common. Now all the development, right, we'll be doing with the help of designer portal. So as I told, right, we are not writing the code from the scratch, right? We are just drag and drop the things. So with the help of designer portal, we will be doing the drag and drop functionalities. So that, okay, our solution, right, at the end, it will become kind of a flow chart. And once our integration is completed, right, then we need to have the monitoring. So we will have the inbuilt monitoring console. So with the help of monitoring console, right, what we do, right, we can go and observe that, okay, how our flow is going. If any error will be there, if error is coming, right, what is the error, or at which point, right, it got breaked. So this is the whole integration components or the development will be there. Now, what is the development life cycle? So here we have seen, right, that, okay, how the integration components will be there. But what will be the development life cycle? So as I was mentioning, right, we know that, okay, we have to identify what are the source system and what are the target system. Once we identify it, we need to go and create the connections, right? So this is the step one. I can go and call this as the number one. So if you see, right, next slide, we have to go and create the connections first of all. Once our connection got created, right, then what happened? We will go and create the integration where we will go and write our logic. So this we can call as the step two, right? So this is our step two. After that one, right, we need to go and do, if suppose we have to do any data massage, right, or data enrichment. So we can go and do in with the help of map data. So what it means, right? It means like, for example, from the source system, right, I'm getting the employee name as like first name, middle name, and last name. But target system, right, accepts only two fields, first name and last name. So what happen, right? We will ask client that, okay, where will go and fit that middle name. So they will say that, okay, in first name, right, first, like from the source, right, first name and middle name needs to be concatenate, and that should go into the first name of the target field. So those kind of like transformations and all, if you have to do it, we can go and do that with the help of map data. Once our logic is created, right, then we will publish that solution so that, okay, we can go and test it out. So what happened? We will go and activate the solution, right? So once we activate, right, what happened? Right? Our endpoints will be published, or it can be used for the testing purpose. Once it is in the testing, right, if you want, like, we can go to the monitoring screen, and we can go and monitor that, okay, how our integration is behaving. Is there any error happening or not? For example, right, if you got that error, right, that, okay, this is the error, it is coming. So from then what we do, right, we can go and deactivate the integration. So whatever the activated integration is there, right, we can go and deactivate. So once we deactivate, right, what happened? It will come back to here, right? So here we can say deactivate, right? So I will go and deactivate my integration. So what it means, the meaning of the deactivated, the meaning of deactivate is like now we are not published. We have moved our application back to the code base. So when your integration will be into these two steps, right? So what happened, right? It means in these two steps, the code, it is in the edit mode, right? It means we can go and make any code changes, or we can go and edit our solution. But once we go and do that activate, right? So in this tab, right? What happened, right? It will be in the read only. So it means we cannot go and make any changes. It is in the read mode. Why? Because we already published. So when we have published some solution, right? Behind the scene, we cannot go and modify. If we can go and modify behind the scene, what will happen? Somebody will be testing, and behind the scene we are modifying. So if suppose we are getting some any error, so what happened? We have to deactivate. Once we deactivate it, this read mode will become the edit mode. We can go and modify our logic. Once our logic is completed, we fix that issue. What happened? Again, we can go and activate. So once we activate, it will go into the read only, and it is published. So again, it can be tested by the end users or business users. Then again, they can go and see the monitor. If they will see that okay, everything is working, then they will be okay. If they say that okay, no, so this time we got some more new errors, right? So again, we can go and deactivate. So that is how the whole cycle can be there. Once we know that okay, all issues got fixed and our solution is working fine, right? Then what happened, right? We can go and release that to the production, right? So that is how the development life cycle of the OIC it will be.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Can you repeat again?
Yeah,
Starting
I
to.
can. This development life cycle.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what happened, right? First of all, if you see, right, as I was mentioning it, what are the integration components? We have the connection, we have the adapters, right? So it means like first we need to identify which all systems, right, will be communicating with each other. So once we identify, for example, this is my company, then this is my bank, and this is my income tax department. So I identify the source and target systems. By using those, right, I will be creating a connections, right? So what happened? Our first step is like create the connection. So here we'll go and create the connections with the source system and target system so that okay, the communication can happen between those systems. Once we create a connection, then now we need to go and write the logic. So what happened, right? We can go and write the logic into the integration, right? So we can go and create the integration. In that one, right, we'll be writing the logic, and the logic will be written with the help of map data. Once our logic is complete, we can go and activate. So when our logic will be in the edit mode, right? So in these two, right, our logic will be in the edit mode. It means we can go and modify the logic. We can go and implement the logic. Once our logic got completed, we can go and activate. So once we activate, right, it means it is ready for the publish. And users can go and start testing. So they can go and do the testing. While testing, they got some error. So through monitor, right, we can go and identify what is that error. And then we can go and deactivate our integration. So again, right, we can go and come into the edit mode. We can fix that issue. Once that issue got fixed, again we can go and activate. Once it will come into the activate, it will go to the read only mode, right? Then again we can go and do the monitor. If everything goes good, then we know that okay, our solution got completed. So that is how the development life cycle of any OIC. So these are the high level, or you can say complete OIC development will be there. This logic can go or become simple complex based on the business requirement, but the steps are going to be same always. Then currently we have that OIC rate is in the generation 3. So recently Oracle upgraded, like I think 1.5 year back. So earlier Oracle came with the generation 3. Before to that one, right, OIC generation 2 was used for the development. So in the generation 2, right, we used to have 6 patterns: app driven, schedule, file transfer, basic routing, publish to OIC, and subscribe to OIC. So what all these patterns was, right? And in generation 3, right, these pattern, right, from 6 it become the 3. Now we just have application, we have schedule integrations, and we have the event integrations. So what was happening, right? Right. So in the generation, first of all, right, I will just give the explanation. So what happened? This one, right, app driven, is still available in the generation 3 application one. It means there is no change in the no, option number 1. So I can say this is option number 1, and here that is like 1. It means 1 is same in both that generation 2 and generation 3. This is our second integration pattern. So the second pattern is also same in the 1. Correct? It means there is no change between first and second in the generation 2 and generation 3. Now this third and fourth, right? What happened? Right? This was not used in the generation 2 by any of the client. So what Oracle has done, right? Oracle has deprecated these in the generation 3. So because this was not used by any of the client, right? So when something is not used, right? What happened? Oracle has decided to deprecate these two, third and fourth. Why those deprecated? Because in the file transfer, right, we will just do the transfer file from one point to another, and basic routing we are just doing the redirection. Same these thing, right, we could have achieved in the app driven and schedule with more additional logic and all. So when I will able to design the, because no customer need direct file transfer, they need something on top of that one. So when they need something on top of that one, right, they have to go with either app driven or schedule. So they will not able to see direct file transfer. So due to that reason, right, these two options got deprecated. Now this 5, right, publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. So these two options are still there in the generation 3, but it got rebranded as events. So you can call this as a 5 plus 6, right? So it means event is nothing but like publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. So that is how, right, what happened? There is a 3 patterns in the generation 3 and 6 pattern in the generation 2. So there is no change in the pattern. Whatever it was there into the generation 2, same patterns are there. What happened? Right? Something which was not used, those things got deprecated, and two things got combined into one as events. Behind the scene, if you see, right, if suppose some developer has developed the code in the generation 2, right, and now they will go and develop the solution with the help of event in the generation 3, it is the same thing, publisher and subscriber integration. Here also it was like publisher and subscriber integration. So that is the difference between the patterns. Now what is app driven? So app driven is nothing but like on demand. So it means I wanted to run something, right? So it will be depend upon my input that okay when I want it to run. So app driven integrations are the one which we can go and call ad hoc or on demand or on based on some activity. Then second solution is like schedule integration. We don't need human intervention. We need that okay the process should run automatically on particular time or on some particular frequency. For example, right, our manager needs some weekly report. So the report should run every Monday morning 8 a.m. So it is like automatic needs to be run. There is no human intervention needed. So what happens? We can go and design those solutions with the help of schedule integrations. Then if we need some logic, right, that okay when some event will publish based on that one, the second the another integration should go and start. So what happens? That can be created with the help of publish to OIC or subscribe to OIC or in the generation 3 event. Now 95% of integrations, right, will go and fall into these two categories. So most of your integrations, right, which you will be developing, right, you will be developing with the help of these only. This can go to the 100 also. I have seen the projects where only these two patterns are used. Third, like event, right, or publish to subscriber. These two things, these are not used. So in the generation 2, right, some people are using. So due to that reason, right, Oracle has not deprecated completely. But in real project, right, most of the requirement, right, will fall either into the app driven or into the schedule integrations, right? So, and from the implementation perspective, whatever logic you have implemented here, right, same logic you can go and implement into the schedule integration. Same logic you can go and implement into these two, publisher and subscriber integration. What will change, right, is the way of working. In this one, right, the logic will go and start when we want. When I will go and press the button, right, that time the logic will go and start. In this one, right, the logic will go and start automatically on the time. In this one, right, the logic will start based on some event. Correct? So that is the integration patterns or styles we have. So we have three main integration styles. So now this is kind of a for reference. I only use for the generation 2, but what you need to remember, right, or we will be working is like these three patterns only: application, schedule integration, and event type of integration. So if you see, this integration runs when a business activity occur or when someone update an application. It means on demand, on based on of the user. This integration will run according to the schedule or based on the time. These integrations will run when another integration publish the business event. So based on that one, right, this will be working. So these are the three patterns. So when we will go into the hands-on, right, so that time right we'll be seeing all these things in detail, that okay, how in application integration will be working, how schedule integration will be working, how event type of integrations will be working. Then this is the one use case that okay, if you have to go and upload daily exchange rate, right? So when we know that okay, if our company is operating with multiple countries and the exchange rate right between multiple countries right, will change every day. For example, yesterday India to dollar was 90 rupees. Today it is 92 rupees. For example, day after tomorrow, right, it can be 85 rupees. So on that particular day, right, whenever that operation happen, right, so we need to use a on particular day's exchange rate. So we need to go and load the data every day, those exchange rate. So how we can go and design that solution with the help of IC? So what happen, right? The trusted data source, right, will go and upload the file into the FTP server. Then our integration, right, OIC solution, that will go and accept the data from that FTP adapter. So our OIC, right, what happen, right, it will read that file and it will transform that data and it will load into the our ERP adapter, right? Then what happen? We will go and start our initiate load. Now that process can complete in 1 minute, it can complete into 1 hour. So what happen? We will not go and wait. So what happen? We'll just go and initiate the process and let it complete. Once it will complete, right, we will go and write another integration. And what happen? This OIC, right, will go and give the callback, right? So callback integration will be called. So in the callback, right, what happen? It once the process complete, right, after 1 minute or 1 hour, another integration will go and complete, and maybe that integration can go and send that notification that okay, the operation got the exchange rate got loaded. Please start your operation. Right. So that is how we can go and automate the whole solution with the help of OIC. So I think that is what we have for today. Okay, I think there's no questions here.
Can I ask question?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Uh, as we see that there is a number of jobs of OIC, Oracle Integration Cloud.
Yes,
Okay. Apart from that, I see that there is a job for the Oracle Fusion consultant, Oracle SCM consultant, Oracle
yes,
ERP consultant. Okay. Sometimes I see that they need this Oracle Fusion plus OIC.
yes,
They're mixing jobs is there. Just I want to
yes.
understand if I learn this Oracle Integration Cloud, uh, apart from that, if there is a requirement of the Oracle Fusion consultant, Oracle ERP consultant, so we have to learn separately, or it is cover, or it is something different. Just want
No,
to
so those are kind of like all different. So OIC is like alone OIC developer job. Then when it comes like that technical HCM only, right? So you just need that HCM. So why companies are going for multiple things now, right? Because when you want to interact with that other system, right, you should know that okay, how you will be interacting, right? For example, if you want to interact with the fusion system, right, we should know that okay, how we can go and call the reports, BIP reports, how we can go and load the data into that one. So that from the voices standpoint of right, whatever things will be required, we will be covering. So for example, this FBDI, right? So FBDI is a fusion process. It is not that OIC process, right? So in the fusion, if you have to go and load the data, right? What is the process we'll use? Either we can go and use the REST APIs or we can go and use the FBDI, file-based data import. So we should know, right, how we can go and use that one. Then only, right, we'll able to call in our OIC. So yes, those things, right, we will be seeing that, okay, how I can go and create the record in the fusion with the help of REST API manually. Then we'll go and do the same solution in the OIC.
So, what is your suggestion to I do this course, okay, Oracle Integration Cloud, I do it. Apart from that, what in the demand in the market, Oracle Fusion or Oracle SCM or ERP, whatever is that, so I can understand the whole
Yeah, so
future.
again, right, that other second thing, right, it depend upon the target system. For example, right, so as I told, right, OIC, right, is kind of independent upon the source and target system. So
Okay.
if suppose you got some project, right, in that one, supply chain management is there. So you have to interact that time, right, through the supply chain management. When it is a human capital management, you need to interact with the human capital management. When it is a finance, right, you need to connect with the finance system. So as a OIC developer, no need to worry that okay, what is your target system? Because the functional team member, right, they will be explaining that okay, how the data will go and what are the files they will be requiring. Again, if you initially if you want to go in your career as a OIC developer, right, those additional things will be not be needed. But suppose if you are going for a higher position, right, for example, senior developer and all, so that time system or the companies will expect that okay, you should have the understanding of the target systems also. So
So
there's no fixed thing that okay,
in
it will be ERP, it will be HCM, it completely depend upon the project.
okay, in your course, you want to show some practical also, right? So what
Yes.
you want to keep that source and what you want to, going to have the target,
Yeah, so
which
in the target, right, we will be having the database, we will be having that FTP server, we will be having the Fusion environment. So in the Fusion environment, right, we'll be seeing that, okay, how we can go and extract the data, how we can call the BIP reports, how we can go and do the
Oracle
import.
Fusion on the target side, right?
Yes, target side.
One more question.
Yes.
So Oracle Integration Cloud and in the requirement, they need the Oracle Fusion consultant also. So that will cover in that, or we need
No,
extra to
Fusion
learn?
consultant will be separate. So that
Okay.
profile itself is a separate as a
Okay.
OIC
Okay.
developer, right? Because
Okay.
functional, right, is like kind of like functional knowledge will be there. How that configuration will happen, how the business objects will be created, how the departments will be created, how the purchase order will be. So that knowledge needs to be requiring. So that is like functional job. As a technical, right, or as a OIC developer, we don't need to worry about those configurations and all. That is a functional person's job. That is a separate profile itself.
Okay. But I see that there is the very less job if you want Oracle Integration Cloud, they need some extra one also. They want
No, so that
some.
we are covering, right? We will be covering that integration with the fusion. So that only will be requiring. Yes, in the job description, right, they will give so many things. But in the real, when you will go and work, right, that is what you have to work. You have to load the data into the fusion. You have to extract the data from the fusion. No need to because like one person cannot go and understand the whole fusion application. Because in the fusion application, right, fusion is like one thing. In that one, we have multiple families. ERP. Just give me 1 minute. I just quickly connect. Yeah, sorry, team. Yeah, so like as I told, right, Fusion is like one application. Inside the Fusion, what will happen, right? We will have ERP, we'll have supply chain management, we will have finance, we will have human capital management. Then within those, right, we will have sub modules. For example, in the human capital management, right, we have compensation, we have payroll, we have time and labor, right? So there are so many modules will be there. So one person cannot go and understand everything. There will be separate functional job will be there for them. As a OIC developer, yes, we should know what is our target system, how we can load the data, how we can extract the data. That process is going to be same, whether it is supply chain management, whether it is finance one, whether it is CX, right? It could be anything. The way is same. I hope you got that.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple question here. So we have
Yes.
OIC and we have the OCI, right? So
Yes.
so every time I see any requirement, we should have both. Like we should have the knowledge, not working on OCI with OIC. See,
No.
we,
So
it
OCI
should be
is like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure.
correct.
In that infrastructure, OIC is one service. So infrastructure, right? So again,
Hmm.
admin team will be there. OCI admin will be there. So they will be doing that configurations and all.
But
Because
what OIC will do the same admin will do the OIC configuration also.
no, it will be separate because infrastructure configurations are going to be different. So infrastructure, right, is kind of like firewall, networking, data loader, right? User management system. So those are kind of a like or policy creations. So those are that OCI admin's job, or you can call Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Within that infrastructure, right, OIC is one service. So in the whole infrastructure, right, like OIC is one service, database is one service, then AI can be one service, machine learning can be one service. So like that, right, OIC is one part. But
Yeah, but
Oracle,
Yeah, one question here is OCI is basically kind of like a database administrators
Mm,
and these guys, and OIC
you
is also has a development. So is
correct.
it like, so both will be, when we say fusion developer or architect, so you need fusion knowledge with technical insight, like how you integrate the systems in fusion. So that OIC is involved in that, and
Yes.
OCA is also. So all these three should be integrated
So
without
that's why like
just.
all three will be with separate job profiles. It's not that one person who will be doing this one.
Yeah,
OCA
because
admin will be doing the admin activities. OIC
mhm.
developer will be writing
I
the
was
solution.
asked in one of the projects that whether I have the experience with OCI
Yeah,
and
so
OI
suppose if you're going for senior
both.
position, right? For example, if
Yeah,
you are the solution architect or
yeah,
tech lead, right? Then yes,
mhm.
there is an expectation that okay, you should have that understanding.
Yeah.
Because if
That's
you're
what they
going for
asked.
like, so
Mhm.
normally like in the project, that OCI access, right? No one will get. Only tech lead or the senior architect only will get that. Because it is the infrastructure. Any wrong
Mhm.
action, right, can go and impact whole your infrastructure. So
Oh, well,
due to
that's
that
complete.
reason, only
So for
limited
yeah,
people will have that access. So as the OIC developer will never get that access of the OCI admin.
yeah,
If you
agreed.
are
But for job application, I'm asking. So if you apply for a new job, so if you say that I'm an expertise in OIC and OCI, so will
no,
that be
no,
helpful?
that's not right. Both are two different profiles. So if you say that okay,
Mhm.
you know both the things, then yes, obviously they will expect that okay, you should have the understanding of both. But if you say that
Mhm.
okay, I'm a OIC expert, right? They will not
Mhm.
expect that okay, you should have the OCI in and out.
Oh, but you should have fusion knowledge on that.
Yeah, fusion knowledge will be requiring that okay,
Mhm.
because like when you are extracting the data from the fusion, right, you should know right BIP report that will be
Yes.
covering in our session. When you want to call the web services REST API, you should know which are the REST APIs that will cover in the session. Then when you want to load the data into the fusion, it is FBDI. So you should know that FBDI that also will be covering the session. So
Great.
whatever from the OIC developer perspective needed, right, all those things we are covering.
So that's perfect. I agree with you. Just asking, if only having OIC knowledge will not fetch you more into the job world. Is that right?
No, that's what like it's not only OIC. OIC is just independent. Now, for example,
Mhm.
in this project, you have to interact with the fusion. There's a possibility in the next project, right? You have to interact with the workday. So your
Mhm.
source and target will change. What OIC is capable, right? That will go and stay same. That logic will go and stay same.
Okay. So with on-prem also, you can connect OIC to
Yes,
the
you can
cloud.
connect with anything. On
Oh,
premise, cloud to cloud, you can go and make the communication with any systems.
okay. If I know this, if I want to learn this course, OIC exclusively, so I'll be learning only OIC components and how that is connected with other systems. That's the only thing I'm getting in this lecture or anything.
No,
Uh,
you will
uh,
be seeing that okay, how we can extract the data from the database and how we can
okay.
go and load data that in the fusion. So yes, you will be
Okay.
learning OIC, but along that OIC, right, you will be learning that okay, how we will go and do that activities in the target system. For example,
Okay.
if you have to call a BIP report, you should know
Mm.
right what BIP
Mhm.
report is. That will be
Yes.
covering, right? We'll be creating a BIP report in the fusion. Then only we'll able to call that one. So yes, we'll be
Uh,
covering that fusion part also,
yeah.
which will be requiring. Again, we'll not go in depth of those, but whatever from the OIC perspective we will be needing, right? Those things will be
Mm.
covering.
Got
Uh,
it. Got
can
it.
you
Yeah.
can you
Or
compare the work, sir? What is the OIC and what the Oracle Fusion people do, consultant do? Any idea?
Yeah, so OIC is a PaaS, platform as a service. So it means you
Okay.
will be developing the things from the scratch. But Fusion is a SaaS application, software as a service. It means, right, in that one, right, you can just go and make the things. You cannot go and do
So
anything
as
from
a
the scratch.
OIC developer, I put the data in the Oracle Fusion. My work is finished. And then after that, Oracle Fusion consultant will do the data from
Yes,
the data, kind of.
correct. Yes. So it's like suppose you are data currently sitting in some legacy application. You need to extract that data and you need to put the data into the fusion. Then once the data will come into the fusion, then what happens? Some report we need to create. So what happens in this one, right? The data extraction from the source to target, that is OIC developer's job. Once the data will go into the Fusion application, then the Fusion technical, right, they will create a report on top of that one, and they can go and share with the client. So
So
that are the
OIC
two
is more towards the developmental. If you suppose say I'm a DB or a architect or something database, so more the OIC job is to have the code written and integration with the modules. Is the
No,
only,
we are not writing the code. It is a like as I
of
told, a
course,
low code framework.
correct, correct.
So it means like so in the database, right? Suppose if you're a DBA,
Mhm,
correct? So you
mhm.
have to extract your data. Then you need to
Okay.
transform that data, and then you need
Mm.
to move to some other system, correct?
Like
So that
ETL.
job, how you will be doing as a
Mm.
DBA manually,
Mhm.
right? You will be writing
Yeah.
some script, and then you will be doing. Now the
Mm.
same thing, right, can be used as a OIC. You can
Is
automate
like
that whole
OIC
process.
considered as a ETL, like transformation, fetching the data from and putting into
Yes,
the
you can
state.
call that one.
Okay, okay. So it's kind of ETL integration tool. Uh,
Yes.
okay, got it. Thank you.
But along with that one, right, you can go and do that additional things. You can send the notifications. You can go and use the file servers. You can go and use anything, right? Because in the ETL, right, whatever, only you have
Mm.
extracted, transform, and
Only
load.
transformation
That is
takes place
only
on
you are
the.
able. But in the
Correct.
OIC, that is like one part of that one.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Now, if I
only
compare
OT.
the on-prem and all these experience and with OIC, OIC can be considered as a ETL plus with extra efficiencies.
Yes, yes. So that
Okay,
ETL
that's
is like one
high level
part of.
understanding.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Is this course for OIC developer or will it cover the administration also? So from the OIC perspective, yes, we will be covering the OIC developer and administrator. But OCA administrator, right? Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, that we are not covering.
So, without
Uh,
knowledge of OCI, can I
yes,
learn this? Can I learn this?
yes, you can. That's what I told, right? In real project, we will never get the access of the OCI. So the OCI team will be created. It's just an environment creation. So
But
OCI
you need to
admin,
log into Oracle Cloud, right? So, to access OCI, you need to
no,
be
no,
in
no. So
the.
the no, no. So they will be sharing the URL. They will be sharing the username and password.
Mm.
So it means that OCA admin will be creating that environment, and then we will be logging into that one, and we are creating our solution.
Oh, we are directly getting as like a developer, like a normal developer.
Yes,
How? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we don't need to worry that okay how that will be created because
So
that is
OCI is
at,
super cover for the OIC.
yes.
One of the
So like how
components. Mhm.
yeah. So Oracle Cloud infrastructure is nothing but Oracle Cloud. Like so
Correct.
from Amazon, right? We have AWS.
Yes, yes,
From
yes.
Google, we have GCP.
It is
From
one of the
Microsoft,
services.
we have
OIC
Azure
is
Cloud.
one of the services
Same way from
which
Oracle,
helps
we have
integrate.
Oracle Cloud Infrastructure.
Okay. Okay.
Within that whole
That's
infrastructure, right, there are n number of services will be there. So OIC is one of those services.
so to get your OCI knowledge, I need to have more other services knowledge also rather than
Yes,
OIC.
because like if you go with the OCI admin, right, for the profile, then they
Mm-hmm.
will not expect the development thing from you. They will
Yeah,
expect
yeah.
that okay, you should able to
The
manage all the services.
yes,
You
yes.
should
The
know that okay,
provision.
how your
Yeah.
infrastructure or operating system, right, or the
Uh,
networking, right, will be smooth in multiple systems. So
the
that will be
provision
your
of
purpose.
databases and also only those things they can.
Yes.
But
Sir,
so I all these days I was thinking OIC and OCI are they have you have
Yeah,
to know.
it's like a common term like OIC and OCA, but it is two
Mhm.
different things.
I agree. Thank you.
uh, will you also teach that
According
how
to
to fetch the report from the Oracle Fusion or not?
yes, 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 we'll be saying that okay, how we can create a report and then how we will go and run that report with the help of OIC. So yes, that will be covering.
No, OIC with the help of OIC
Yeah, with the help of OIC, we'll
from
be
the
doing.
Oracle Fusion, that is target
Yes,
system.
yes, we will be doing that one. So first we will create the report into the Fusion, then we will go and call that report into the OIC.
Will you also teach BI publisher also? Not.
Yeah, so that's what the report is, right? So BI publisher is only that report creation. So we'll be covering that one.
Okay, then 50% you are covering Oracle Fusion consultant work.
Yes.
And what about this one and AP, AR, HR departments kind of?
No,
What is
those are
that?
functional. Those are functional modules.
In which one it comes mostly?
In that will come
Oh,
like suppose if you go for the functional, right? You don't want to go for the technical role. You want to go for the function. So that time, right? Those things will be there.
Which course I need to do that in that for
Uh,
do.
and then
Uh,
you have to go for like supply chain management, fusion consultant training.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think we don't have
may
that one
just
here.
interact you. Yeah, so yeah, that to do those courses, you're gonna pay and this thing, fusion and things.
Are you covering VBCS? And one more question I have. Like how much experience we can convert or put from this training? Like a 3+ year experience or 2+ year experience?
So after this training, right? So as I told,
Yeah,
right, it is completely hands-on. So if you complete all the assignment, like whatever I will create that integration, right? If you go and perform those also, right? So you can easily go with like 4+ years of experience.
but when and what kind of VBCS are you covering?
No, VBCs we are not covering because that is a separate, right? So OIC is for the data communication. VBCs is for
Yeah,
the
but
web screen development. And the third is like OPA, Oracle Process Automation. That is for the workflow. So in this
yes, you're
training, we are
right.
not covering, but yes,
But
like we will be
but
coming as a
but in
separate training
the
for that.
yeah, but in the job description, OIC plus VBCS is mandatory, I think.
No, it is not
Uh,
mandatory. In the real project, when you work, right? So either you will be working as a OIC developer or you will be working as a VBCS developer. That is kind of like you should have the understanding, but
and
one
are you
person
covering
cannot go and do the
SQL?
both the jobs.
One more question. Are you covering SQL on this?
So like yeah, whatever we need, right, we'll be covering the basics. Will not go in depth. It's not that okay,
Yeah,
like
we.
yeah, the basics will be covering because like if suppose I will need to interact with the database, right, in the OIC, I should know, right, how to write the select statement. So those things, right,
Yeah,
we'll be doing. Again, as I told, right, source and target system, we should not know the in-depth understanding. If you're going for a DB, right, then maybe like you will be requiring in and out of like all the database. But as the
I'm.
OIC developer, right, you should
Yes,
just
yes,
worried
yes.
about that, okay, how you can go and call that one, how you
I
can go and
want
write.
to connect with you personally. It is possible to connect?
Yeah, maybe like Kiran or someone will reach out to you.
Okay, so
So you can
please
just,
fill up the attendance form.
yeah, you
Okay.
can just fill it
Our
out
team will connect
and
with
team will
you
be interacting
and
with you.
they will arrange the call with sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is a finance and
And
SCM domain is different, right?
yeah, those are different.
Okay.
So with zero programming knowledge and career gap, can I land? Yes. For you, that is that easiest thing that you can go and switch your career. And in OIC, right, you are getting high pay salary because like big companies are requiring OIC developers. So as I told, right, there's no
Yes, but
prerequisite. It is
what
a
I
no
see
code.
that apart from OIC, they need something else. Someone asking for also have the knowledge of the finance and SCM as domain,
As I told, right,
kind of.
that is like suppose if you go for 10 years or 20, 15 years of experience. If you are going with the like 3 to 4 years, then they will just expect that okay, you are comfortable writing in the OIC logic or not. You should have that understanding of the OIC.
So
Because
yeah,
like
as
if
you
you are
said
going,
that, yeah, sorry about that. As you said, the code is actually automatic. So what is the logic we can write on that? It's already
design
automatic,
the
right?
solution will be designed, right? So as I told you,
Okay.
components are there. Which component you will use when,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And the
So
code,
again,
Give
only
if
me
we
to
are
write
not
the
example
right,
of
code.
components for.
so component like for example, right, you have to write some logic. Again, behind the scene, it is programming only. What we are not doing, we are not writing that logic. For example, you need to create some variable. Then you need to write some logic, if else condition. Then you need to do some looping. Correct? That is your one logic. Now, if you go with the normal programming language, right? What happen? You will be writing the code like create variable, write if else condition, create for loop, then write the logic. So if you do all those things, you should know the syntax. You should know each and everything, right? That okay, how the code will be written. In OIC, right? Those are available as a component. For variable creation, the component is there. For if else condition, the component is there. For using the for loop, the component is there. Now you need to see that okay, how you can go and use those components and design your solution in the OIC. When you drag and drop that component behind the scene, the same code will be generated what we used to write earlier. But that will be like suppose if you're a person who is non-technical or who don't know the syntax, that person will not able to write the code. But in the OIC now, that person can also go and design the solution. So it means Whatever we are doing earlier, same also it is now also. But we are not writing the code. So our main focus got shifted on the business logic or implementation, not on the syntax part or not on the code writing. Because if you write if else statement, for example, same code you will be writing if else, same I will be writing. Every day, right? If you do the if and right, so it's kind of a repetitive code. All the time, right? You are writing if else, if else. But now you can just drag and drop, the code will be generated automatically for you. So you can focus on the logic part, not on the syntax part, not on the writing part.
Sir, excuse me, one more thing. With this course, can we go for a certification?
Yes, you can go for the certification. So as I told, right, this is going to be the hands-on training. So you can go for the certification. Only
Okay,
the
and
thing
how
is
long
like
the training?
whatever I will training, I will cover it. You also
Mhm.
have to go and perform those assignments, not during the
And
training, but after the training. So that
yeah,
okay,
but can
in the next session, right, when you come, right, you can come up with the questions. Because when I will be designing some solution, I am working same thing from last 15 years. So I will not get any issues. But when you will go and do it, you will get issues. You will get questions. Why you are doing this one? Why I am pressing this button? Then in the next session, right, we can go and clarify those questions. So may I know what covers under administration like life cycle, security, user role management, monitoring and performance of OIC and OIC instances. So like inside that admin, right? Yes, all these things will come. So that OCI admin, right, will be creating the user roles for us. Monitoring, it will come into the development only. So within that OIC instance, right, monitoring will be there. So we need to go and monitor. We need to see that, okay, how much time our logic will be there. And that instance creation will be done by the admin because it is like one time task. Same thing, like
Uh,
user creation
Is
is
that
one time
is that
task.
going to be covered in this course, how the instance gets created and all, or is it already created and that we are making use
Yeah,
of it?
so I will be sharing the steps, but we are not going to create that instance because it is one time activity. The steps are going to be same. We will be having that OIC instance, but the OIC instance will not create, but I will go and show you the steps that, okay, in case if that OIC instance needs to be created, right, how it will be created. So those steps I will go and share.
So if you want to perform any kind of activities on the instance on our own, are you going to provide any URL to
Yes, training environment will be
for
provided. So OIC instance
okay,
will be provided so that, okay, you can go and do the hands-on.
okay. So any kind of basic, are you going to cover any kind of basic on OCI as well? Like web
Um,
services, REST APIs and users, how the users will be in OCI and the
no, REST
environment looks
APIs and all
like.
we will be covering because like we'll be creating the integrations with the help of REST API and SOAP web services.
So no, nothing on OCI side, right? So how
No,
the OCI
OCI
instances
side we
looks like,
cannot
how
cover
we are
because
going
like
to
as I
create.
told, right, it will be two different profiles. So if I will go into that OCI, right, you will able to confuse that, okay, whether that is my job or not. Or if I will be, because it's kind of a ocean. OIC is one
Okay.
service, OCI is like complete infrastructure. So once you go into that one, right, it is a different story altogether.
Sir, are we going to create or consume SOAP or REST web services
Yes, we
using
will be
JSON
creating
and
it.
XML?
Yes, we will be doing all those things. So we'll be creating the SOAP web service also. We'll be creating the REST API also, and we will be consuming also. Because when we interact with the Fusion, right? So what happened?
Okay.
Fusion has the REST APIs. So we'll be seeing that, okay, how we can go and use those REST APIs in the OIC and we can design our solution. Any other questions, anyone?
What is VBCS, sir? I mean, what is the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
thing? I
OIC
mean,
is there for the data communication. VBCS
okay.
is there for the screen development. And third, we have OPA or PCS, process
We have to
automation.
write the code in that?
No, no, that is also low code framework. It means
Actually,
by drag and drop, right, you can go and design your UI.
which it is comes in SAS or PAS?
All three are pass. OIC, VBCS, and PCS is a pass application. So you can create that UI in the pass, and then that you can go and integrate into the SaaS.
So, okay. So VBCS and PCS is simultaneous to OIC.
Yes. So like OIC will be focusing on the data communication, VBCS will be focusing on the UI development, and OPA or PCS will be focusing on the workflow creation. human approvals and all.
Certifications, once the course is completed, so we can directly go into the certification, or what
Yeah,
is
you
it?
can do, but again, it depends upon your hands-on experience. If you are
Mm.
comfortable that okay, whatever integrations you have created, right, you have the full understanding. You have the full understanding of the components and all. Then yes, you can go for the certification. I will recommend don't directly go work on one implementation project. If suppose you can get the job, right, or if you
Mm.
already into the job, if you can get one project, right, then you will able to get like more business scenarios, then go for the certification. But again, if you want to go after training, yes, you can go for the certification.
Yeah, because to get a job, I need to have a certification mostly. So first they look into the
No, so
only then.
that like training certificate you will get from us also.
Mhm.
But that official certificate, right? Again, that official certificate, right, is not free. Like it is kind of like I think, if I'm not wrong, right, it will be like $250.
Yeah, that is from
So
the Oracle. You need to write and.
yes, that is Oracle certification. So Oracle
Mhm.
exam you need to write and you need to clear.
Correct.
So that certificate will be from the Oracle.
Oracle. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Sir, if it in JD, if they asking for VBCS, we need OIC, we need VCS. If I know only OIC and enter the job and go for interview, are we able to handle the VBCS and PCS also, or we need some training different?
No, there is a separate training will be running for VBCS and PCS. Because in one training, right, we cannot cover like everything. So
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be separate training for the VBCS. And so as I told, right, when you work on the real project, right, one developer cannot work on all three things. There will be separate OIC developer, separate VBCS developer, separate PCS developer. But in the JD, right, they will be putting that, okay, you should have the understanding.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so if no question, then I think we are good. We can wrap up the session today here only.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.